You ever heard of Douglas Durst? I got an amazing story to tell you later on in the program. The sociopaths who are running this country, it's amazing. The New York City police turned their back on the mayor again. We will be discussing that in our second hour with Noel Flasterstein, actually debating that. I think these guys should be fired. China is up to some really interesting stuff. There's incredible news about high fructose corn syrup and stuff that's just going to blow your mind. Chuck Schumer saying things about Keystone XL that I think will surprise you. There's just a lot going on, and which we will be getting to as we go through the next 3 hours of this program. To start out, though, this story caught my eye. I don't know if you've been following the New York Times series. It's been going on for at least the last year, maybe the last half of the last year. But I've been reading it in the New York Times every month or so. There's another one, and it rises up to the top 10 most forwarded stories about short workouts. They started out saying, 30 minutes a day, and then they went to 15 minutes a day, and then they went to 10 minutes a day. And they're doing there's some really good science being done on this right now. They've got it down now to where if you get profoundly out of breath for 1 minute a day, it actually resets your metabolism and changes your health, lengthens your life, there's just all kinds of really, really good consequences to it. And in Turkey, Darsan Ali Sahin, the governor of the western province of Edirne, part of Turkey. I've not been there. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But, all around the world, countries increasingly are confronting obesity, particularly as they start adopting the American diet. And this guy is the governor of this province. And so he said, if you just take the stairs, at least for the first 2 or 3 flights, you're going to live longer. In fact, he said taking the stairs or elevators can add an extra day to your life. And the science actually backs that up. And he says, moreover, it's going to help cut energy costs. So what they're doing only in public buildings, he's the governor, so he has control over the public buildings. He's saying if you want to come into, the state office building or whatever it is, public building, a driver's license bureau, whatever it may be. If you're going to go to the first, second, or third floor, you have to climb the stairs, unless you're disabled, in which case you can use the elevators. If you're going above the third floor, take the elevator. And I find this fascinating. I'm guessing that Neil McCabe, our conservative friend and columnist with townhall.com and editor of the Washington Mercury news site, thewashingtonmercury.com. What happened to Guns and Patriots, Neil?
Are we on, Tom?
We are on. You are on the air.
Well, Guns and Patriots has merged with another site that's also owned by Town Hall called Bearing Arms.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So Human Events about a year ago was purchased by Town Hall, and so it's now part of the Town Hall family, and Guns and Patriots was part of the Human Events family. And as they sort of consolidate things, they had their own gun site.
So it's like what happened with the entire fast food industry ending up in the hands of 3 large corporations, over the last 15 years. That's happening to conservative media.
Yeah, egg production all over again.
Yeah, amazing. Anyhow, I'm guessing that
I still like Town Hall, and they're great guys, by the way.
I'm sure they are. I know some of the people from Town Hall. So, but anyhow, your website these days is thewashingtonmercury.com, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. I think, hey, if you control the city's buildings and you want to deal and in Turkey they have a national healthcare system,
Sure.
so they are paying for premature deaths as a consequence of people not climbing stairs, and so why not say, hey, if you're going to make use of public facilities, publicly owned facilities, government facilities, and the government has to pay your medical bill, the government's going to require you to climb the stairs. What's wrong with that?
Well, this is sort of, the Piper pays rule. If you're paying for, and it's one of the problems with government-controlled healthcare or government-paid-for healthcare is, once the government is paying your medical bills, that sort of gives them a right to control your behavior.
Well, that happens with private insurance companies, Neil. When you have to tell them whether you smoke, what your weight is.
If you can find an insurance company that wants you to smoke and eat candy bars all day, maybe that is out there.
But why should governments be any less concerned about these things than health insurance companies, especially when the government is the health insurance company?
Because we have a sort of civil society, and we want a small government that's close to the people. We don't want we don't want unelected bureaucrats making all our decisions far away in Washington.
Nobody's suggesting that. That's a straw man argument.
No, it's not a straw man argument.
This is not all our decisions, and these are not unelected bureaucrats. This guy is the governor. He was elected as the governor, and he's not making all kinds of decisions. He's making one specific one, which is if we're going to pay for your health care, then when you come into our buildings, you're going to get a little exercise. What's wrong with that?
First, Tom, let me be reasonable before I go right wing.
Okay.
Right? All right. I believe in climbing stairs. I'm all for climbing stairs. When I was at Coast Guard headquarters in Washington many moons ago, they had a rule that if you were going, you had to go up, we had to walk up one flight and walk down 2 flights of stairs. We called them ladders back then because, we treat buildings like they're ships in the Coast Guard. And, I actually, coming from a ship to headquarters, I used to love going down the stairs because I would sort of swing around, like a monkey, because that's how you get used to it on a ship. Yeah. I almost knocked down the commandant of the Coast Guard as I was flying down the stairs. I mean, that's a true story.
I go up and down 6 flights of stairs every single day. We're on the 6th floor here in D.C., and I climb. I haven't used the elevator in this place in half a year, and I feel great.
I mean, I don't want to be anti-stairs or anti-exercise, but I am concerned with a government edict. And that's my problem. And I'm not sure that Turkey is quite the democracy that we thought it was.
Well, hang on just a second. Are you saying that if a government owns a building,
sure,
that you have a right to use an elevator? Because this isn't so much a government edict that...
Well, of course,
you must climb the stairs. It's just that you can't use the elevator. I mean, I didn't know even in the United States that you have a right to an elevator unless you're handicapped.
Well, I'm concerned that maybe that this is a slippery slope, this stair rule.
Oh.
Well, I mean, if they're saying, so what if they make it more stairs? What if they say you have to walk to work if you're a mile from work?
Well, Denmark is doing, they're not doing that by edict, but they're, in Denmark, in Copenhagen, more than half of all the people who work ride their bicycles to work. And it's because 15 or so years ago, they made a radical change in the layout of the city to make it bike friendly. And they gave incredible tax advantages to people who bike rather than own a car.
I lived in Cambridge for 10 years. I almost was killed one morning jogging because I didn't realize that this path that's normally quiet was where 10,000 people bike to work every day. Right. I mean, believe me,
we just got a minute left, Neil. What's your best argument? Is your best argument to say this is government overreach?
It's government overreach. It's executive overreach. I would recommend that Speaker Boehner sue this governor and knock this thing down.
Well, he's in the country of Turkey, so I don't think Speaker...
Well, it's funny that Turkey... There's some joke there about Turkey and Thanksgiving and obesity, but I haven't been able to... Yeah.
Okay. So you think that people have a constitutional right, or even in Turkey, they should have a constitutional right to use the elevator in public buildings?
Use the elevator.
Okay. All right. All right. Neil McCabe, the Washington Mercury... THE, WashingtonMercury.com is his new website. Neil, always great talking with you. Thank you for dropping by today.
Take care, Tom.
Have a great one.